Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Raw, September 23rd, 2019 review. May I start things off by saying thank you to everyone for last week for tuning in to the Monday Night Raw episode that happened last week. I got over 50 views, 51 to be exact. For all of you who tuned in to watch that video, I thank you very much. I really appreciate anyone who was a subscriber or not a subscriber for your time watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed what you had to see for the time being that you watched it from beginning to end, or just a small duration of it, just to get an idea what my opinion was of the show. I did get at least 3 new subscribers out of the video, as well as 2 other videos from SmackDown and NXT, which were not as good as Monday Night Raw, which is shocking as hell. But I have to say thank you very much to all of you. That's why I'm doing another Raw review. That's what's keeping these Raw reviews coming. And I'll tell you the truth, if you guys didn't care to hear what I had to say about Raw, I wouldn't even fucking do these videos. I hope, though, you continue to watch these videos for Monday Night Raw, as well as SmackDown and NXT, and soon next week, AEW. I will definitely be doing AEW no matter what, whether the views are successful or not, in my opinion. But quite frankly, again, thank you all for tuning in to that. I hope I was entertaining as I possibly could for you guys last week. You gotta admit, guys, these episodes are way too fucking long and boring, and we got another boring and uneventful night with Monday Night Raw. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take to get these people to get their show where it needs to be. I mean, SmackDown last week wasn't eventful when it came to wrestling, but at least we had some storyline built. We got some entertaining storylines out of that episode. Raw, again, another night with nothing to show for it. Raw had nothing. We had Rey Mysterio win the Fatal 5-Way number 1 contenders match to determine a number 1 contender to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship on Monday Night Raw next week. Now, that's great and all. We got a season premiere. We're going to see the Universal title defended on Monday Night Raw. When do we ever really get a chance to see that? It's Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in a storyline that will probably go nowhere, because we got the Fiend of Bray Wyatt interfering in all of Seth Rollins' matches. What do you expect any different? We got that tonight with the Fiend interfering in Bray Wyatt with Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins' match. So, really, at the end of the day, what are we really getting from all of this? The Universal title that's coming up is going to suck. So that's not going to matter, that we're getting Rey Mysterio challenging for the Universal Championship. We're getting nothing from the storyline out of The Fiend and Seth Rollins except the same repetitive shit that we saw last week. And more importantly, do any of you actually believe The Fiend is going to beat and defeat Seth Rollins? I would like to believe that, but of course we're all not dumb here. He's not going to win. Seth Rollins will defeat him, burying another possible future star in this company. And they did a burial of Chad Gable tonight, which I'll get into. Chad Gable was buried not really buried last week. He looked pretty good in defeat. But tonight, he didn't look the same way as he did at King of the Rings finals from last week. So let me go into the show, get into things, tell you guys what happened here. I'm going to make this as short and sweet as possible. I'm not going to bore the fuck out of you guys like Monday Night Raw can do. So let's get into things. First off, we go into a recap of the show with the Bray Wyatt deal, blah, 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 same rhetoric. Seth Rollins comes out, makes his entrance. He gets on the mic and says he's done and he's seen a lot of things, but he's never felt the way he did last week on Raw. Defenseless because he just got mugged by a bunch of dudes, and then he's got the living embodiment of a nightmare inches from his face. No fight left. It was all he could do. Too close his eyes. All he could do is close his eyes and hope it will be a bad dream, but it wasn't. The dialogue, people, the dialogue that Seth Rollins delivered here was nauseating. It really was. And later on that night, he's in the same predicament, exact same scenario, acting as if he can't do anything, like, maybe get out of the ring, run away, or attack the character and beat his ass. Instead, he just sits there and goes, like he's in a fucking D-rated horror movie. God. And yeah, I said D-rated, not B-rated, like a normal person would, because it is worse than a B-rated movie. But bottom line is, this was just downright ridiculous. Then we had Braun Strowman come out. He decided at this point, instead of burying the rest of the tag team division, we'll come out and do what we should have done last week. So that's what we got here. We pretty much had Braun Strowman come out, state how he felt. He feels at this point he needs to go ahead and tell him straight to his face that he hopes he never has to face him again, and he's glad of it, blah, blah, blah. Seth Rollins clarifies things, states that he's just glad he doesn't have to fight him now at this point, while he's still facing Bray Wyatt in the midst of 2 weeks from now, facing him at Hell in a Cell in a Hell in a Cell match, so forth and so on, and blah, blah, blah. So he decides he's going to challenge. Seth Rollins says, okay, if you want to make it a fighting deal, we'll go ahead and have a match for the main event of Monday Night Raw. And he says, Braun Strowman says, you'll get these hands. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. Same bullshit, same garbage, unoriginal, repeat, rinse and repeat bullshit over and over and over again. Same old shit. Who the fuck cares? So we get the Viking Raiders come out. We have the OC versus the Viking Raiders. How bad of a booking decision can you make here by putting two tag teams that rightfully deserve to have a win? OC's with AJ Styles. They need to be looking like a dominating trio, and instead they're losing to the Viking Raiders. Now the Viking Raiders need a win as well. You can't put these two teams together. It just doesn't work. They both need to be built up. Not one of these two teams are needed to face each other at this point until they're both big enough tag teams so you can put them in a pay-per-view type setting. This was so stupid and idiotic, it made absolutely no sense to do this. Honestly, the War Raiders should be, or the Viking Raiders is what I should be calling them now, because they changed their name because Vince McMahon didn't like the word war, so he decided just for the sake of doing that, make it Viking Raiders. Whatever. So he goes ahead and he sets up this match. Now, I don't know if he booked the match up. I don't know if he set up the script. I don't know what the fuck happened here. I don't look in the dirt sheets all the time. As you guys see, I don't put up random wrestling talk week after week. It's once in a while I do it for fun, and I just kind of go over some things that I'm interested in talking about with you guys. That's at some point going to change. I'm actually looking to get me and my friend Matthew to get the Random Wrestling Talk show back together as what it was when we first started with this channel. So I'm looking to try to do that and figure out some way for us to be able to do something like that down the road on this channel. Right now, though, I mean, with this matchup, though, it was a horrible booking idea. Granted, it's two good tag teams, but in the way things have been going for the OC needed a win more than anything right now. At least to look dominant and have some credibility. For them to lose to the Viking Raiders was just downright disgusting. And then they also had AJ Styles at the ring, which did not help them look good at all. They looked like a couple of crippled guys that needed an outside interference just to try to pick up a victory, and they couldn't even do that. Another thing I wanted to mention, we had Cedric Alexander interfere in this match as AJ Styles was told to go to the back because of his interference on, I think it was, what's his name? I think it was Eric. Eric. He tried to grab Eric's foot. Eric kicked him away. The referee saw that, and AJ Styles was kicked out of this matchup altogether. So he walks up the ramp. He's very frustrated about the whole situation. He thought it was a bullshit call. And Cedric Alexander comes out of nowhere and attacks him. Now, I got a question. You beat the shit out of this guy 2 straight nights in a row. He lost in a 5-minute matchup, cleanly, man. Then got his ass kicked. And then the next night after that was placed in a 6-man tag team match. He got defeated and then got his ass kicked again after the match was over. Where does he have any credibility to be challenging or even in a rivalry with AJ Styles at this point? He has no reason to be there. Someone else needs to take his spot and be a number 1 contender for AJ Styles' U.S. Championship. There's no need for Cedric Alexander. He's already been buried and forgotten about because the way they placed him, it's not going to be believable now that if he wins the title. It's going to be a joke. And there's going to be no credibility to it because he didn't have a fighting chance. It's just forced. Because that's when Vince McMahon decides, I'll put the title on him. No. Or because he gave the okay for Paul Heyman to put the title on him. When at this point, if he gets the title, it's going to look ridiculous. After getting his ass kicked like 2 nights in a row. Back to back. Whatever. It's bullshit. It makes no sense. The matchup was okay. I mean, the action went back and forth as usual. But the Viking Raiders won by pinfall with the Viking experience on Carl Anderson, and that was basically it. So nothing to cry home about. We had an interview with Becky Lynch with Michael Cole. This actually was a good segment. It really got straight to the point. She wants to take a few steps back, talking about how she made the SmackDown Women's Division the best it's ever been, while the Raw's division was a wasteland in the wake of Ronda Rousey, which is very true. Ronda Rousey pretty much was the star of the Raw division with no other combatant to go up against her and make it believable that she really didn't have anything else to work with. So Ronda Rousey had Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch fill in the slot for that by using SmackDown superstars like Charlotte and Becky to take the title off of her. So she talks about how Hell in a Cell isn't to keep Bayley out, it's to keep Sasha Banks in, and she can't wait to have her all to herself. She was asked about the fine levied her for using a chair shot. She says Banks wasn't trying to beat her, she was trying to end her, so at Hell in a Cell she has a chance to do so. And that's pretty much the gist of all that whole entire spiel. My feelings on that segment was actually it was pretty straight to the point. It was nothing, it wasn't insulting to your intelligence, you know. It just seemed like a regular, ordinary, authentic interview, getting to the point of why she decided she wanted to challenge her in Hell in a Cell match. And they brought up a valid point. Sasha Banks competed in a Hell in a Cell match, but Becky hasn't. And Becky fired right back with a very factual response with, well, she may have been in it, but she didn't win against Charlotte Flair, which really hypes us up in a great way to give Sasha Banks the title. This will make this very eventful for her career, and put a actual statistical mark in her career as something memorable, beating somebody that is really a great competitor. Becky Lynch has worked the best she could work with, And she even stated that she needs people to compete against to help elevate the Raw division in the women's division. And that's very true. She can't do it by herself. And this moment here is a great chance for them to utilize for Sasha Banks. They do that, it'll give them a reason to continue this rivalry, give us another match where she then gets another moment, Sasha Banks gets another moment, where she proves herself to Becky Lynch and retains the title for the first time ever in her career in Survivor Series, which would be the best situation in the sense of the term Survivor Series. She's trying to survive for the first time ever and retain her title the first time ever in her career. I think that is a great statement to Sasha Banks and would be a great place for her to retain her title for the first time ever in her career on a Survivor Series pay-per-view, which is the fourth biggest pay-per-view of all time. So that is definitely a great opportunity for WWE to take advantage of. Will they? I have no fucking idea. But I hope they do. I think this is a great chance for Sasha Banks to finally elevate her into a realm of where she needs to be, like a Charlotte Flair, a Becky Lynch. Even Bayley seems to be above her in some aspect than what Sasha Banks should be at. I mean, Bayley has had retained her title on many different occasions between being a Raw superstar and a SmackDown superstar. So she at least had that kind of moment. Sasha Banks has never had that kind of moment. She's had the title 4 or 5 times and have never retained it once in any of her title defenses. So this is definitely a great opportunity for WWE to take advantage of this. EC3 faced Rusev. My God, can you get into any more of a burial than this? This guy has been buried since day one, since coming from NXT. And I think the WWE draft is just the thing for him, and he needs to go back to NXT. Period. We need to see EC3 on NXT. That's where he was fitting best in. He was struggling there, but not as bad as he is on Monday Night Raw. He is just buried beyond buried. It's pathetic. Rusev wins the match in a submission by the Accolade, and that was it. Rey Mysterio cuts a promo talking about how he nearly retired a few weeks ago. He writes off as just a moment's serious doubt and gives his son Dominic credit for him still being here and being a number one contenders match for the Universal Championship. So he tells Dominic that tonight he's dedicating the match to him. So that's pretty much that. We had Sasha Banks make her entrance. We had Nikki Cross and Sasha Banks start their matchup. This matchup was okay, I guess. I mean, it wasn't the greatest in the world, but it at least got some crowd reaction, somewhat. I would say so, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, this crowd was so dead. I mean, you could hear a pin drop sometimes. That's how fucking sad and pathetic that was. So yeah, Sasha Banks wins this match by a Banks statement and gets the submission on Nikki Cross. After the match ends, I mean, Bayley actually got some involvement in this matchup and tried to interfere. Alexa Bliss portrayed the good friend. She grabbed her off the apron and knocked her on her ass, and then threw her into the timekeeper's area and eliminated her out of the match completely, but that distraction was good enough to get Sasha Banks to get the Banks statement and get the submission win from Nikki Cross. After the match was over, Alexa Bliss gets the full-on Banks statement from Sasha Banks, and she pretty much gets knocked out on top of it. What the hell is going on here? My computer's acting up here. Sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm having technical difficulties. So I can't fucking do this. Jesus Christ. Yeah, give me 1 moment. I gotta fix this real quick. seems like my computer's on the fritz, which is not really good. I'm trying to be professional here, and I can't do that. That's great. Give me one moment. Wow, this really fucking blows. I'm trying to get raw results, and I can't even get raw results. My computer's so fucking tired of hearing me talk from hearing about Raw that it's decided to go to sleep. Damn. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna get this taken care of. Anyway, pretty much the overall consensus of the show is it really was nothing to cry home about. I mean, you gotta be out of your fucking mind if you think this show is any good and worth watching for 3 hours, unless you were doing something like what I do. Otherwise, this wasn't even worth your fucking time if you're just a regular fan. I mean, honestly, this show has nothing to offer to us. SmackDown's got more to offer to us than this. NXT sure as hell has got more to offer to us. And fucking AEW is going to be a hell of a lot better than Monday Night Raw, I can tell you that much. So let me scroll down through most of this crap here. Alright, so after that, we get a backstage segment with the OC. Both Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are standing there hurting, with their ribs hurting, and they're all acting like as if they made a big, humongous achievement here by being in a match and being with AJ Styles. It's like as if the Good Brothers of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are just living off the coattails of AJ Styles. They're just in the background. They have no momentum, no credibility whatsoever. Nobody cares about them. They're just with AJ Styles to be with AJ Styles, to have some sort of relevance within this company, because without AJ Styles, they wouldn't mean nothing to the company. That's a pretty sad statement. I really am not happy with this, the club deal faction that they got going on here. They are making AJ Styles look pathetic as a loser. The OC as a whole is just a loser with no future within this faction. This faction is as dead can get. I honestly do not see any credibility. They do not look like a dominant force within the company. Nothing. Nothing stands out to me about this group. Period. Brock Lesnar is advertised for next week's event for the premiere of Monday Night Raw. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. We're going to see him on SmackDown on Friday night for Fox for the WWE Championship, which I think would be pretty nice to see him finally on a actual televised episode of wrestling, instead of just seeing him on a pay-per-view with him just standing there having Paul Heyman do all of his talking for him. Ember Moon versus fucking Lacey Evans. Throw this fucking match out. This match was a complete travesty at the end. I don't know why Ember Moon is losing to Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans doesn't need to win jack shit. She can't apply a fucking sharpshooter properly. She looks like a buffoon, and she does not look like anything, intimidating, or look like she even has a remote chance of beating Natalya in the sense of technical wrestling capabilities. If you go based off of wrestling technical wrestling capabilities, fucking Natalya would kick the shit out of Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans knows nothing about wrestling. She has nice tits and a blonde hair, and that's all she's got going for her. The rest of this match was a joke. Ember Moon needs to go to fucking NXT. She belongs there. She'd fit well. She'd get some kind of credibility. She'd have some sort of element to her, substance that get people excited to see her. She looks like crap on this show. And it's not because of her, it's just the way she's presented on the television show. There's nothing to her. They don't give her anything to work with. They have her lose to Lacey Evans. Who the fuck is Lacey Evans? I mean, come on. And she beats her by a sharpshooter. We have the Firefly Funhouse bullshit with Bray Wyatt, the schizoid maniac who talks to fucking pet toys, puppets and shit, saying, "Oh look, we got a new friend with Kane and blah blah blah," and now his new thing is "See you in hell," waving at the screen and smiling while he says "See you in hell," and all this kind of nonsense. Talks about sharing Seth Rollins, a toy Seth Rollins, and he splits it in half. I mean, what in the hell is this shit? I mean, granted, I will admit, I did laugh at the comment that Bray Wyatt made saying, "See you in hell," and laughing and waving while he goes off the air and they go to commercial. But let's be honest with ourselves. Does anything here seem important? No, this is just another hype up for him and Seth Rollins while he does all this stalking and scaring Seth Rollins bullshit like as if he's the Undertaker or Kane, for God's sakes. We are getting nothing out of this. He's putting mandible claws like he's Mankind on fucking Braun Strowman and Kane and other people, and yet all he has to do is stare at Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins goes, like, what in the fuck is this shit? Get the hell out of here with this crap. The 24/7 title had a segment out of fucking nowhere. Carmella and R-Truth come into the ring. Nobody's chasing them for the moment, and then they go ahead and they say, "Where's the mob?" And finally, some small mob comes out of nowhere. Like, why is this even on here? Just retire this fucking pathetic 24/7 Manila bullshit title that means nothing. 24/7 Hardcore Championship meant something. It meant surviving through a night while you have the title on you until the end of the night. That was the point. This is not anything like this. This is like a sideshow clown, three-ring circus, Barnum and Bailey type shit. It is so stupid. Carmella does a schoolboy pin and wins the 24/7 championship on R-Truth, tricks him, has everybody stop and wait. They don't stop her from getting the pinfall. She gets it, gets the win, and becomes the new 24/7 champion. R-Truth congratulates her, raises her hand in victory, and then they all run off, the both of them, together, while the rest of the women's locker room, that's not being utilized at all, to chase after them and try to win the 24/7 title, while the men stand in the ring like a couple of idiots, staring at each other and wondering what the fuck they just saw and what they are doing on the show, probably. Back to catering, guys. Have a good time. What a joke. Let's see here. King Corbin versus Chad Gable. Oh, brother. This is the match I was talking to you guys about. Baron Corbin dominated most of this matchup. The crowd really weren't into it until the late mid part of the match to the end. And then the match ended with a disqualification. Baron Corbin hit Chad Gable with a scepter and got disqualified because he was in an ankle lock. Great match. Then he hit him in 3 different places. In the kidneys, in the back, and in the gut, I believe, and also in the head. So 4 different places. First the head, which caused the disqualification, and then those 3 other areas I just mentioned. And that's how we had that match end. So it was pretty much a copycat of what happened from last week's matchup, thinking that they could create the same magic they had last week with this match this week. Nope, didn't work out very well in their favor. Majority of the match, nobody cared. AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Robert Roode, and Shinsuke Nakamura for the number 1 contenders match to determine who would face Universal Champion Seth Rollins for next week on Monday Night Raw. As I mentioned before, Rey Mysterio wins this matchup. This match wasn't bad. I will not deny that. That's probably the only thing I can give credit to this matchup. But let's be real here. Rey Mysterio, why him? because he's got a storyline going on about him trying to do, credit his son and devote this match to his son and win this match for his kid. I have no problems with that. I think that was great what they did there for a storyline. But when you really look at it, it's not going to benefit Rey Mysterio at all, because he's going to be the sacrificial lamb for next week on Monday Night Raw for Bray Wyatt's The Fiend. He's just going to get choked out with a mandible claw, and the show's going to end that way too. We keep getting the same exact rerun that we got last week. That's all we got. That's all this show was, is a rerun mostly of last week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Chad Gable and Baron Corbin. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman is like a rematch from fucking Clash of Champions. The match basically entirely, from beginning to end in that main event with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, was a complete copycat of what we got from Clash of Champions. The only difference was the ending with the Fiend interfering and attacking Braun Strowman. That's it. This matchup, let me just go through this because there was a lot of stuff that did happen. So Styles right in with right hands on Mysterio. Rude bails. Nakamura beating on Ricochet off the ropes from both high-flying baby faces. Ray with a schoolboy on the one and only, and then they run off Robert and AJ together. Back body drop sets up a Asu moonsault for Mysterio. Ricochet with a Suzuki special, and we go to break. Yeah, that's another thing that kills these fucking matches. These breaks in high moments where it starts to build up, and then you go to commercials. Why not go to commercials where it's very fucking slow and boring as hell? Are you telling me you can't do that? Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, go to a commercial break when the match isn't all that interesting. Not go to a break when you got all these high-flying assault maneuvers that people are getting excited over. Stupid. So, yeah. The first pinfall was Ricochet getting hit with the Kinshasa by Shinsuke Nakamura, and so he ends up being the first one eliminated. Second was Shinsuke Nakamura. He got I believe he received he got the phenomenal forearm by AJ Styles. Then AJ Styles was eliminated by the glorious DDT by Bobby Roode. And then Rey Mysterio defeats Bobby Roode with the 619 and then a frog splash, I believe it was, at the end. Let me see what the hell it was. I'm trying to see it. I think my computer's acting up again. Jeez Louise, man. This thing sucks dick. Anyway, yeah, Rey Mysterio ends up being the last person surviving throughout the entire match. Match was pretty decent. I mean, it was probably worth being the main event than fucking Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. As I already mentioned, the matchup between Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman was the main event. Same exact situation that we saw at Clash of Champions. Only difference was the Fiend interfered in the match and caused a disqualification, making Braun Strowman go to sleep from a mandible claw, not once, but twice. And yeah, that was pretty much the overall gist of the show. There was nothing solid about this match, or about this show whatsoever. Nothing stood out to me, and my god, how the fuck can you guys sit here and watch this shit on a regular basis unless you're making money off of it doing reviews? Whoever sits through this show week after week, miserable like I am, doing this to themselves, I don't know whether to give you credit, give you a hug, or tell you the dumbest fool on the planet. But whatever the case may be, you're either the loyalist fan or the dumbest fan on the planet. Whichever the case is, whoever tunes in for this show, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate your subscription. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great night. Bye.